Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Well, hey everybody, we're back out at Giga-Texas. It is Wednesday, the 12th of June, 2024, and it's the day before the big shareholders meeting that's going to be held right here at Giga-Texas tomorrow. And most shareholders meetings are pretty cool. This one has a particular flavor of drama, excitement, and maybe a little bit of suspense as we wait to find out what the votes are going to be on many of the items that have been placed in front of the shareholders. Of course, the two headline ones are Elon's compensation package and also the redomestication from Delaware to Texas for Tesla. So a lot's going to be kind of on the line tomorrow. It's going to be very interesting to see, and I will be there, and I will be covering as much of it as I possibly can, and I will share as much as I can as well. So anyway, tomorrow's the big day, and we'll see what's going on. Now here at Giga-Texas, there are some preparations for the shareholders meeting. As you can see by this image on the east lot, they are preparing for all the shareholders to come in, have places to park, and then the tents are where they will be checked in, get your badges, and they'll check and make sure you have the QR code, and then they will bus you over to the main entrance, and then the event will happen on the inside. And I'll try to get as much of this process tomorrow as well. For the construction that's going on here, I'm going to focus most of my attention on the south end today, where we see continued work on the inside, trying to install a lot of equipment and get that ready. Also a lot of pipes that are being used or will be used for cooling of the supercomputer cluster that's going to be in this part of the building. On the ground floor, we can see that the Prufrock 3 is continuing its dismantling for relocation, and we'll see what the next phase of the operations will be very soon. Now across the highway at the boring site, we do see that they are dismantling quite a bit of the infrastructure, the conveyor belts, the supports for the conveyor belts, the belt cassette itself, and also the spoils bin. All of these are being dismantled, most likely for relocation. Now, interestingly enough, just to the south, as you can see by this image, these flat plates of concrete are what will be the floor or the driving surface inside the completed tunnel. And these are being installed now. We also know from the boring company's recent post that the tunnel is expected to be operational in July, so that's not very far from now. So a lot that we will be watching on that as it continues to develop. And additional work going on with the glass, and on the west side of the south extension, they are installing the concrete panels, and we are seeing that window line emerging that will tie in the extension to the existing building. Now, the last thing I do want to point out today that I noticed over by the die shop, another extremely large delivery of IDRA parts. This is specifically part of the platens that move in the Giga Press that form the Giga Press castings themselves. And it looks like it's just being delivered. It weighs a lot, so you can tell by the trailer that it is on. So a lot more activity today. We'll get into the drone and we'll see what's going on. I can't wait till tomorrow, and like I said, I'll share whatever I can of the shareholders meeting. So as always, thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. We'll start here on the south end of Giga-Texas, where most of the activity is today. Good view here of the south end with all of the glass and how the new face of the building on this end looks right now. Most of the parapet wall is completed on the south end, just above the two large rows of glass, and you can see more of it being prepared on the southeast corner. Also, good view here of the southeast corner and that cooling structural platform with the superstructure, which will be housing all of the cooling units that will help ensure that the supercomputer cluster inside this area of the factory stays cool. And a lot of good views here on the inside with some of the trenching that is going on, some more work on the multi-level grade on the ground level, some of the work and equipment that's being put in on the second floor, and also a kind of a small mezzanine level in the middle of the screen. And of course, a good look at the fiber reinforced plastic pipes and structure that is holding up these 5 large circles. There will eventually be 6 of them, and then you can see the cooling tower enclosures organized on the top of this structure, getting ready for assembly. And that should be happening fairly soon. Also, good view here at a new temporary platform that has been placed against the southeast side or the east side of the extension, and those 4 large tanks that are enclosed inside the building. As I pull away, a good view of the water detention pond and the reshaping of the natural pond on the right, and of course River Road. It's new temporary paving that allows access along this side of the site and then up to the north. As I turn towards the north, a really great view of the multi-level parking garage, all the roads that have been installed recently, and some of the earthwork and grade work now around the base of the structure, most likely to prepare for some sort of landscaping around the structure and to help finish off its apparent look when you come up to this structure. All of the markings have been completed on the roof, also, and you can see on the ground floor and each of the individual floors between the ground floor and the roof. Also, the lighting has been completed on the roof as well. So really good views here showing how some sidewalks are getting ready to be placed for access, and of course that landscaping, and generally what this is going to look like when it is completed. Moving on to the roof of the body in white structure, I'm going to show you an update of the enclosures that are being installed on this opening of the roof. As we looked at the permits, we know that this is part of a cooling system for a data center here in the body in white structure. And as I fly to the south along the openings, a good view of the new ventilation ducts, that grading material that they're putting on, and some other preparatory work for additional vents soon. Of course, this on the left is some of the materials and the workshops that they are using for that installation. And we also see some of the cabling now being strung along the parapet wall on these rack mounts and over the pipe work. And there's a good view of some of these spools of the cable that are being deployed along this entire length. And this runs, for the most part, from the casting machine structure all the way down here to the roof of the stamping. Now, speaking of stamping, this delivery is another large coil of stainless steel. This is what is used for the Cybertrucks and part of that process. At least I'm pretty sure it's for the Cybertruck. It could also be the rolls of steel for the Model Y as well. Now, a lot of the work is being done here on this corner of the roof to finish up this weatherproof membrane. And as I give you a close-in view of the cooling tower, this is a great view of the pipework, the FRP poles, some of the exterior cladding, and also the mounts on the bottom floor, on the ground floor, for some of these large pipes that will help serve the south end extension and that supercomputer cluster and all of the cooling that it is going to need. As I continue to fly around the southeast corner, I'll bring the drone down and get a good sense of some of the materials and the activity on this side of the structure. A new delivery of more rebar is underway right now, and we see what looks like a heavy lift trailer, probably after it has delivered some large item and then some other items being delivered as well. And there's been quite a bit of equipment moved inside already. Now, as I maneuver the drone even further to the ground level, we can see these excavations. There will be 3 of them. They're aligned with these openings. Those are the underground tunnels. This one has had that perimeter grade beam cut open so that they have access into that tunnel. The other 2 are in the process of having that work completed. Also a good view of all of the glass in this face of the south end of the building. Now here's another one of these excavations. We did have some rainstorms come through last night, some pretty severe thunderstorms, so that's why this is filled with water right now. But you can see where the perimeter grade beam will be cut open for that access tunnel. And this is the 3rd one. Again, more of that rainwater, but also you can see the crews at work near that perimeter grade beam wall where they're preparing to cut that open for that 3rd tunnel. And people have asked me what are the purposes of those tunnels. I'm not really sure, but I think it is related into some way with that supercomputer cluster that's being installed there, because at the other end of each of those tunnels is a large elevator shaft and equipment that would be able to take that equipment up to the 2nd floor and then the mezzanine levels. Now these workshops are for the glass company. You see more of the glass in the crates on the left-hand side of this screen. And a good view here of the point of glass right now for the installation. See where the parapet wall glass ends, and they still need to finish off this west side as well. So that should be wrapping around here soon. We do see some deliveries on the green truck right now of some equipment, and we also see some more of these wall panels. You can see the angled cuts into them, and that is going to help shape the window line that you see emerging on the structure as well. And here the crews are getting ready to lift some more of these concrete panels and place them onto the walls. Very good view of how this is going to look, and once it's completed, it will make the building look like it's one contiguous structure, and it will have the architectural elements that will tie it together. Of course, we'll have this rising glass line. You can see with that beam in the upper left, and then we'll be at the tall glass through this area. Now this is a good view of the inside of the ground floor. We see the Prufrock 3 being dismantled right now after completing the tunnel to this point. See those large blocks of concrete, almost look like Lego blocks. Those were moved from the spoils bin over here, and it's part of the disassembling process for right now. On the 2nd floor, we see those large pipes that are part of the cooling system for the data center, the mezzanine level where I believe the data center will be. Also below that, we see the, and above that mezzanine too, we see 2 of those bridge cranes with Tesla on white with the red beams. And so there's some significant bridge crane capability through this area as well. As I bring the drone back down, again, we see some of that equipment that I had mentioned that had been delivered waiting for installation, and that enclosed structure on the ground floor. And it looks like that's an equipment, plumbing, manifold system, interior office space or workspace for all of that. Now, some people are talking about whether this entire area was going to be administrative. It looks to me like it's pretty much industrial, and we'll continue to watch that build out. Now, on this part of the structure, this is where the Cybertrucks are exiting currently from the factory, but once that tunnel is operational in July, we will most likely see this sealed back up, and then we will not see the Cybertrucks departing the factory on this side, as they will be going underneath the highway. We'll just be seeing them emerge on the west side. So as I bring the drone up, I'll give you a good view of this south end side, how the extension is continuing to develop out the roof line, and you can see the 2 types of roof materials that they are installing. The white is very similar to what we've seen on the rest of the structure, and this gray area seems to be a different approach, possibly for fire code reasons for the data center that is under this structure. So let's get ready to go across the highway and let's take a look at some of the developments over there today. I'll bring the drone down here and give you a zoom in. What you're seeing is these concrete panels on the screen are the floor or the drivable surface that is being installed into the tunnel, and that will give that flat surface to be able to drive the Cybertrucks from one side of the site to the other. And you can see some of the other tunnel liners on the ground nearby. Nice older Porsche next to a Cybertruck here. And this is part of the Boring Company operations, and we'll come in closer to get a good sense of the activity today. And most of it is dismantling some of the infrastructure and the equipment necessary to support the tunneling. Now we see that ventilated fan has been disconnected. The superstructure, the beams, and the conveyor belt support structures have been removed. The belt cassette, which is that lattice kind of white item, is being dismantled, and the belt cassette top is on the ground on the left. Also, the spoils bin with some of those concrete blocks has been removed, and we've seen some of them over on the inside of the extension next to where the Prufrock 3 is currently. And it looks like there's some additional work that's being done near the silos. Now, what the next phase of operation here is, I'm not 100% sure. I do know that we'll be seeing additional tunneling operations here, so we'll get a chance to see, hopefully in the coming weeks, what is actually going on. Now, the liner trucks are idle here. One of them does have a few of those concrete liners on it. And of course, the ramp going into the tunnel with that thrust ring is still present. We should see those dismantled here very soon. But a good overall view of the state of the boring tunneling operation on the west side of the highway. So let's reposition the drone up over the west warehouse on wheels and come in a little bit closer to the work that's being done on the south end of the outbound lot and south of the superchargers as well. Some of the earthwork and grading is going on with this large section on the right and center of the screen. We will see paving here shortly. And then, speaking of which, there is paving underway today in this area. This will further expand the outbound lot to the south. Those square forms are for the lighting system. And this is a good view here of the progress that is being done here to get the outbound lot to its full size eventually. Now, a lot of Cybertrucks and some Model Ys on the outbound lot, with trucks active picking them up and taking them off site today. It's a good overall view and look of the outbound lot. We'll chase this truck with 4 Cybertrucks and 2 Model Ys on it as we continue to get to the north part, and we'll see many more Cybertrucks are being lined up here. And again, they are put here as a temporary location until they can do their processing, and then they are moved over to the outbound lot for shipping. My previous video, we did not see very many here, and this is a market improvement of numbers of Cybertrucks on this side of the site. As I continue to fly to the south along this part of the outbound lot, just a good view of the current situation with vehicles, mostly Cybertrucks, but there are Model Ys, as you can tell, and those tents are used for further processing. I'll bring the drone down lower just to give you a better look at the asphalt installation that is going on here, and you can just imagine this entire section will eventually be one large lot, and we can also just imagine the extra capacity that will be available here for more vehicles later in the year. Some additional trenching going on here next to the washout station, and that could be for more conduit and possibly some chargers. And the supercharger lot looks busy today, certainly much more so than it did on Monday. And we see Cybertrucks exiting the south end of the end-of-line building. So let's cross back over the road and take a look at what is going on the west side of the main factory. And we'll start off here at the main entrance. You can see the planters in the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Also more with some kind of black top awnings that are being put up next to the entrance. This is all in preparation for the Shareholders Day, which is coming up tomorrow. And this is where the buses will drop off the shareholders to go inside for that event. We also see preparations here for some displays. And speaking of which, the display trailer that has been making its way around the country showing the Model Y is now here at Giga-Texas. So I'm sure that will feature to some degree in the shareholders meeting. Some of the Model Ys coming out of the factory today, not a lot at the time of my flight, but we do know that the production is continuing, although at a somewhat lower rate right now. As I continue to fly to the north, I'll stop here just to get a sense of any changes that are going on with this area where the apron has been removed. Other than relocating the fences, I really don't see much change here today. So let's fly up over the roof. We can see the bricks still holding down portions of the weatherproof membrane on this part of the roof. That's where they have had some leak issues in the past and some repair work as well. And I'm going to reposition the drone here on the north end of the 4680s, and we'll take a look at some of the activity here. That lower level temporary platform on the opening on the right of the building has been removed. We saw that in my previous video, and it looks like they're getting ready to close that section in. The north part of the paint shop has got more of those racks on the right for the bodies, and of course many more of the castings are being displayed out here next to where they are widening these receiving doors and reconfiguring this entire side of the casting machine structure. The conduit work is at a stop for the moment, but across Tesla Road that continues, and of course a good view of all the castings here on the east side as well. Now there is some earthwork being done on this section, and some of those trenches that we saw have been filled back in, and of course more reconfiguration work of the receiving doors on the bottom right. All of the flues that were stored on the left of the screen have been moved inside again. And here we get a good view of the concrete work. It's more of the rebar in preparation for concrete to finish this foundation, and some of the mounts that are being placed onto the poured concrete section to support some of the equipment that will be installed here as part of the baghouse filtration system. And we should see that being installed in the next month or so and get a good view of what that will look like. I'll take a view here of the east former testing and calibration lot where we see just a few Cybertrucks being stored. Not a lot right now, and I think that over time this is going to diminish to being pretty much unused, and that north part of the west outbound lot is where we're going to see the Cybertrucks kept while they are preparing for shipping. This parking lot has been cleared out in preparation for the shareholders meeting tomorrow. The tents are being set up with air conditioning units, and this will be where the shareholders arrive. Their tickets checked for the QR code and their identification, and then the buses will pick the shareholders up and then take them from this location over to that west main entrance. But a good view of the setup today and kind of a flavor for what we will see tomorrow at the main event. So I'll bring the drone up and we'll fly over towards the die shop where there's an interesting IDRA delivery underway. I noticed this truck in the alleyway between the die shop on the left and the battery cathode plant on the right. I wanted to give you a good view of what this is. It's part of a GigaPress machine. You can actually see the words there, DCM number 6. That would imply perhaps that this is the 6th die-cast machine, or perhaps the 6th of the 6,000-ton IDRA gigapresses here at Giga-Texas, and that would be in addition to the 2 9,000 tons that are over in the casting machine structure. So kind of interesting to see that, and of course we know that this is part of the die shop, which is where they do maintenance, design, fabrication, and also some testing of the various dies that are used to make the castings for the vehicles. So let's continue to pull away over the battery cathode plant, a good view of how it looks today from the north side, also the east side, and how it continues to transform to some degree, and all of the broken up pieces of concrete waiting for recycling, plus the last parts of the equipment that are stored here waiting for installation. As we continue to move in to the east side of the cathode structure, get a good view of the wade pit, one of the office trailers, all of these white platform items that are being moved into that doorway you see in the center of the screen on the exterior wall of the battery cathode plant. And of course, the structure here at the bottom is the crash testing facility. And people keep asking if the south end of the roof here is damaged. It's not. It's just a black curtain that kind of has been shredded, and you just see parts of that up onto the roof that have been blown there. Tesla Road extension continues to have very little work, mostly on the underground stormwater management system. And then I'll bring the drone up and give a final look at Giga-Texas, the parking lots, the overflow lot, the east warehouse on wheels on the left, of course the multi-level parking garage, and the extension in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. I hope that you enjoyed what we were able to see today, and I'm looking forward to the shareholder meeting tomorrow. Again, I'll try to share what I can, and I look forward to seeing some of you there. Take care and have a great week.